snap it, and it's Trey Burton who throws caught. Bulls touchdown.
Here he goes. It's Hester inside the 30. Hester's going to take it all the way for a touchdown.
Fields stumbling, trying to cut it back. Justin Fields making magic happen. There goes Fields. Touchdown.
Hurts on first down, fires downfield. It's Deshaun Jackson back in the lineup. It's the last 7 games, and he will take it 81 yards. A somersault into the end zone. His first touchdown of the season.
You're listening to the Pigskin Project, the world's #1 football podcast. Now, with more insights on all things football, here are your hosts, Ben Hansen and Ryan Matthews. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Pigskin Project, where there is an absolute blowout going on in the background, but we don't talk about that sport around here, that lame sport. Just kidding. Anyways, it's been a long last couple weeks.
He just lost money on a parlay. I want to make that known. If that parlay would have hit, y'all would have never heard the end of it. That's for sure.
We're talking if it would have hit, it would have been $1,600.
Yeah.
So yeah, it would have been electric on this one. But anyways, yes. Like I said, long last couple weeks, but not a lot of news happening around the football world. But Ben, how are you doing, buddy?
Man, I've been doing good. Like you said, there's not, with school being over and me working, there's not much going on in my life right now. Just work, coming home, hanging out with Mary, and doing this.
Yeah.
There's not much going on. Played a new game.
Oh yeah, it's pretty fun, isn't it?
Yeah, if you guys haven't played Extra Fine, you could do that. But Ryan, how have you been doing?
I've been all right. It's been a long last couple weeks. So if you guys remember, I said that I was at training for my job, and oh my gosh, I have not had a moment to kind of take a breather until today. So I am very, very thankful for this opportunity to have an off day. And I've done today, I've done a lot of cleaning. This room is filthy. And even when it looks clean, I didn't even realize how filthy it actually is. So it feels good to, be kind of refreshed. But nonetheless, I say that we go ahead and start talking about a little bit more football, huh? What about that?
Amen to that, brother.
Ryan and Ben bring you weekly news.
All right, so this is the most exciting news I've gotten since the draft. Bears have gotten Hard Knocks. I will finally watch it. We've kind of talked about it. I mean, a lot about how much I don't really watch Hard Knocks.
Yeah,
but we've been discussing how awesome that show would be if they got Hard Knocks, especially this offseason, just because there's so much surrounding the team. I would say this one's probably, I would say, the most anticipated since the Lions one after it's as successful as it gotten after Dan Campbell started there. So it's exciting. I hope that this is the start of good things in Chicago, just because, I mean, God knows that we need it. But nonetheless, yeah. What are you thinking about this? Because I mean, I called you. You text me about it, and I didn't see it, but I called you like a little bit after. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, as someone who watches Hard Knocks every year, like I know you're not like a big Hard Knocks guy. Like you don't watch it every year, but for me, it's like good content, at least that like I like to watch every year because it's at least something to do football related. I'm really excited to see the, like, more than anything. Obviously it's cool, it's the Bears and whatnot, but I'm really excited to see like Caleb Williams, like specifically, and like this like highly touted, like, one of the best prospects in the last like 15 years, how he handles it his rookie year. Because it's not quite, it doesn't happen quite often that we get to see, like, again, these highly touted rookies on Hard Knocks as often, as we would like. So I'm very excited to see that aspect of it all. So
I'm so sorry. Luka's back in the game, dude. This parlay is not dead. Anyways,
Rudy's
all right.
Rudy's not getting what he needs.
To answer Kyle Gagliardi's comment here, absolutely. So he asked for audio listeners, either of you getting College Football 25? Absolutely. I already pre-ordered the MVP edition. But Ben, what's your point of view?
To talk about that, yes, we're both getting it. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Peeved kind of with obviously it's something that I've been looking forward to for the last 10-ish years and whatnot. So I'm hyped for it. I'm really excited for it. But the two new, it's not new, but two newish things that I'm disappointed about is Road to Glory not starting in high school. Mm-hmm. What is that BS? It starts in high school. It always has. It should start in high school again, but it's not going to start in high school. And then I don't like that Dynasty isn't cross-platform. Yeah. That's frustrating. I want to build up FIU and absolutely kick your butt with FIU. So
yeah, no, it's. I mean, it sucks.
I was I was 10 years old playing this game. I had no clue what I was getting myself into, and now here we are 10 years later.
Oh yeah, no, this is so. My perspective on it is that I never got the opportunity to play one. I've actually never played one of these games. Yeah, Dynasty not being cross-platform.
You never went back and played it at all or anything?
No, you can't find it anywhere. You know what I mean? I've never owned it, and
really,
I've never, not even I don't think my dad's even had it, honestly. And I used to play on his stuff all the time. It's just
cover one, and that's back in the day when you had to manually go in and input all the last names for everyone, and at that point they didn't have because NIL wasn't a thing back then, so it was this big thing that was player and then jersey number. So if you wanted the last names to be on your team, you had to input their last names, which would take years. It felt like it was a different animal back then, that's for sure.
For sure. I was always one to watch the videos on it and really want to play it. But like I said, I mean, it was such a good game that it was so hard to find. I mean, you couldn't find it anywhere. So it was disappointing to not be able to do it, but that's why I stopped at nothing to go ahead and pre-order it. So I'm excited, man. I think that it's going to be a banger of a game. Thanks for bringing that up, Kyle. But not as much of a banger as Bears getting Hard Knocks, though. Wink, wink. Anyways, our other two weekly news points. Texans have signed Nico Collins to a 3-year, $72 million extension, and Jalen Waddle signed a 3-year, $85 million extension. Ben, you've got a little bit more of a viewpoint on Waddle's extension. We've talked about it briefly today. What do you think?
Well, first off, the Nico Collins extension for on average $24 million a year is an absolute steal. We'll get into my top 15 this year, and let's just say he sneaks into it. And at this point, getting a top 5 wide receiver or top 15 wide receiver in the NFL for under $25 million doesn't happen quite often. And then you look at a guy like Jalen Waddle, who is making much more than that. And Jalen Waddle's his contract is $10 million more than what Devontae Smith was. And that's what Ryan was referring to. Howie just does special stuff, man. You look at their career stats over the last 3 years or 4 years or whatever it's been. They're darn near comparable. Waddle has him beat by I think 10 catches and then 200 yards. And then Devontae Smith, I think, has one more touchdown than him. But their stats are pretty gosh darn comparable. And Devontae Smith is making $10 million less on his contract. Howie Roseman's a freaking wizard. And it some people will chalk it up and say it's because he wants to make more. Yeah, but most of the time when it's, I want to make more than that guy, he's making $500,000 more, or he's making $1 million more. And like we'll see that when CeeDee Lamb and Justin Jefferson and all those guys sign to their new contract, and even Tyreek Hill. It'll be $1 million more or $500,000 more. It's not $10 million more. So Howie got ahead of the ball and does what Howie does. We absolutely love it. Harry Roseman, best GM in all of football. Don't at me.
I mean, Ryan Poles is doing one heck of a job, but we don't have to
Ryan
talk
Poles is
about
doing
it.
great, but come on now.
We haven't made it to a Super Bowl yet. If we cross the finish line, I'll make that argument.
Operating on different skill gaps here, right? Like the expectation levels are different for each organization. Like, Kyle's in the chat. It's the Eagles are all the way up here. Packers are close behind. And let's be honest, the Bears are just want a winning season. Like, you guys are all the way down here. Like, we're Super Bowl. Our teams are like, we want, like, I want a Super Bowl. I expect a Super Bowl. Kyle is expecting like at least a playoff push. Yeah. You just want a winning season. You just want a quarterback that can throw over 4,000 yards. We're operating on a different tier level here. All right.
And God forbid. So like, I'm gonna bring it back to the whole like Hard Knocks thing, because like it's great. Don't get me wrong. God forbid this is a distraction for young Caleb Williams too, because that would be horrible.
Let's just say they're
I've heard good things. We'll see. But let's dive into our next segment here.
You think you know football? Well, prove it. This is Pigskin Pick'em.
All right. So starting us off with the Titans. So I don't know about you. So
we'll disagree.
I'm not big on the Titans defense. The Titans offense, I think, is a little bit more firepower for receivers, but I will say, like, I'm not really too impressed with their running back core. Despite the fact that they added Tony Pollard, they still got rid of Derrick Henry. I'm excited to see where their offense goes, but I think their defense is going to be losing them a lot of games here. So I'm going to kick us off. I kind of want to experiment and see how you would feel about this. But I want to start off with let's say with your schedule. I want your full schedule, and then I'll do mine, and then we'll just do that.
You want my full schedule? Okay.
We're just gonna do full.
I'm not quite. I mean, I don't think the Titans defense is going to be like world beaters or anything, but like they have Jeffrey Simmons, who's one of the best. Like they play 3-4, so technically he's a defensive end, but like one of the best like interior defensive guys. I think he's more of a defensive tackle or 3-tech, but like one of the best like 3-techs in all of football is Jeffrey Simmons. You went out and you traded for L'Jarius Sneed. Like I think they have pieces on the defense to be good. I don't think they're going to be great, but I think they're going to be a nice middle of the pack defense. That being said, so we'll open it up week 1 with them. It's going to be, I hate doing this here. We're going to disagree. They're playing the Bears at home and they're going to beat the Bears. They're playing the Bears
in Chicago.
The Titans are playing away, in Chicago. The Titans are going to win. Like, Bears fans are going to be like, no, that's not going to happen. Our defense is better. Our offense is better. Blah, blah, blah. It's Caleb Williams' first game in the NFL.
Dude.
It is Caleb Williams' first game in the NFL. Whether you like it or not. Like,
against a bottom 5 defense in the league, dude.
I that's why I preface this. I don't think they're going to be a bottom 5 defense in the league.
Oh, my gosh.
I don't think they're going to be a bottom 5 defense in the league. Again, I think they're going to be pretty like middle of the pack, maybe a little bit below average. But like, what did we talk about? What was one of our big points that we had talked about last week? We had talked about a generational quarterback and how he has not lived up to expectation. Trevor Lawrence. And I'm not going to say Caleb Williams is going to be Trevor Lawrence. I have a higher expectation than that. I think Caleb Williams is going to be better than Trevor Lawrence. But, like, come on now. It's his first game. Let's let him settle in. Let's let him see him make some plays before we start, jumping on his bones here a little bit. Like, I need to see something from him before I go out and make these crazy claims. It's his first game. Whether you like it or not, it's an adjustment.
What gives the Titans an edge over the Bears?
Caleb Williams being his first game in the NFL. That's what it is.
Okay. So rookies just can't win their first week, basically?
I didn't say rookies can't win their first week.
It just doesn't make any sense to me. Okay. Well, all right. Okay.
Titans are winning. Week 2, they're playing the Jets at home. The Jets are going to win. Week 3, they're playing the Packers at home. Packers are going to win. Week 4, the Titans are playing at Miami. The Dolphins are going to win. Week 5, they're playing the Colts at home in Nashville. The Titans are going to win. Week 6, they're playing the Bills in Buffalo. The Bills are going to win. Week 7, they're playing in Detroit. The Lions are going to win. Week 8, they're playing the Patriots at home. The Titans are going to win. Now, this game was actually hard for me to pick. Week 9, they were playing, or 9, 10, 9. Week 9, they were playing the Chargers at LA. I'm going to have the Chargers winning this game, but this one was this was a hard swing for me. It was a hard swing for me. I didn't know what to do there. I'm going to go with the Chargers. I have obviously a little bit of bias towards them, but
not a lot to be excited about for the Chargers this year. I'll be honest.
No, exactly. I mean, they're leaning fully into like the Jim Harbaugh offense. Like, we're going to build the offensive line and we're just going to run the ball 50 times a game. That being said, the next week they play the Vikings at home. The Titans are going to win. Then they play the Texans. They play Texans in Houston. Texans are going to win. Then they play the Commanders at the Commanders. Titans are going to win. They play Bengals at home. Bengals are going to win. They play the Colts.
Jaguars.
Oh, there you go. They play the Jaguars. The Titans are going to win. They play the Colts. Colts are going to win. That's played in Indy. Then they play the Jaguars again in Jacksonville. The Jags are going to win. And then they play the Texans in week 18 of the season. And the Titans are going to win that game because the Texans are going to have the division locked up and they are going to be sitting their starters.
You had the Bengals beating them as well, right?
Yes. So I had them going 7-10. So their wins were against the Texans, the Jaguars, the Vikings. Hold on. All right. So from week 1, they beat the Bears. They beat the Colts. They beat the Patriots. They beat the Vikings. They beat the Commanders. They beat the Jags. And then they beat the Texans. So, yeah. So I have them going 7-10.
So, I definitely think that you've got a higher idea of the Titans than I do.
Again, I don't think their defense is going to be as bad as what you think it is. So
I have them losing the first 11 weeks out of the season. 2,
wow.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I have them losing to the Bears. I feel like that's an easy decision. I'll disagree with you on that. That's fine. The Jets, I have them losing to the Jets. I have them losing to the Packers at home. I have them losing to the Dolphins in Miami. I have them losing to the Colts. I do expect Anthony Richardson to have a great year this year. I have them losing to the Bills. Josh Allen, that's all I got to say. Losing to the Lions, and then losing to the Patriots. So this Patriots team is going to have a good defense. And not only that, but they added a better quarterback in Drake May. I expect the Patriots to have a better defense and a much better defense than the Titans this year. Then after that, I have them losing to the Chargers. I have them losing to the Vikings. Now, I'm not high on J.J. McCarthy, but I am high on the other J.J. and Justin Jefferson. He's going to dice up this Titans defense. I don't even know anybody on the Titans.
I'm going to what about I guess I'm confused as to why you're so low on the Titans defense, but then you turn around and say the Patriots defense is so much better. I mean, I'm looking at the Patriots depth chart compared to the Titans depth chart right now. They have Matthew Judon, which is, I think, the best player of any of them, and then Christian Gonzalez. But I would take Snead over Gonzalez any day of the week. And then after that, they're both like pretty mid guys. I mean, like you have a Keon White, that's nothing special. You have Christian Barmore, nothing special. Juwan Bentley, nothing special. I like Josh Uche. I think he could do something, but him and Harold Landry are on par with one another. And then Kyle Duggar, like he's hit or miss. I like Kyle Duggar. And then Jabril Peppers. I mean, I'm a Michigan fan. He's the reason, or at least a big reason as to why I'm a Michigan fan. But like in the NFL, he's been pretty mid. So I guess that's my confusion. Like I would rather have the Titans defense than the Patriots defense. There's nothing on the Titans defense outside of Matthew Judon that I'm like, they're better than the Titans at.
I like their secondary a lot more, as in the Patriots. I really, really, really like their secondary more. When it comes to that, I don't see much flash at all for the Titans. As for their D-line, I feel like it's kind of equal. I do appreciate Devondre Sweat and Jeffrey Simmons for the Titans, but I do like Christian Barmore and Matthew Judon. So at the same time, I feel like they can be seen as equal. For the rest of it, I mean, it's kind of mid, but at the end of the day, I like the secondary more than the Patriots. And Will Levis showed me enough to where it's like, I just don't. If it's a tough defense or defensive secondary, you know what I mean? It's tough to overcome that for a guy like Levis. And I understand that their receiving core is improved, but if you look at
significantly different.
It is different, and I agree. But at the same time, you know what I mean? Like Calvin Ridley didn't really do all that much for Trevor Lawrence. I mean, I'm not seeing. I mean, I understand the name is huge, but I mean, it's Calvin Ridley. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. He's fallen off. I mean, that's not.
Yeah, I mean,
he had 1,000 yards. 1,000 yards. He was tied for 8th for touchdowns. I get it, but like he was dropping a lot of balls, man. And I just don't see it working out. I don't know. I'm not big on the Titans at all. I have them, let's see. Yeah, losing to the Vikings, losing to the Texans, beating the Commanders, losing to the Jaguars, losing to the Bengals, losing to the Colts, beating the Jaguars, and then losing to the Texans to finish 2-15 and a top 3 pick easily.
That's easy. That might be the worst record that we see. That's wild. Like that might, I mean, we'll have to go through, but like off the bat, that might finish as the worst record in the entire league, and I don't think they're the worst team. I would take them over New England. I think it's a tough schedule, but I would take them over New England any day of the week. There's nothing that New England is doing on offense that makes me think for any shred of hope. I mean, there's not a thing on their offense where I'm like, I like him. Besides Drake May, but we know how I feel about rookie quarterbacks. So,
I mean, might I add too, I'm not really the biggest Brian Callahan fan either. I don't think that he's going to be able to add much to this team, but we'll see.
Yes, and I will, and I'll tell you like my concern. Like so we had talked about like rookie quarterbacks winning like week 1 and whatnot. Like I think it's tough. Let me go back and let's see what CJ Stroud looked like in his first game. And by all accounts, CJ Stroud had one of the best rookie seasons that we've seen from a quarterback in a very, 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 very long time. All right, let's see. His first game, he had 28 complete, so he had 241 yards. He lost to Baltimore. He threw 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and 5 sacks. So he didn't do anything. He looked pretty mid. He had, again, 2 interceptions. He had a 63% completion rating, 240 or no interceptions, no touchdowns, and then 242 yards. And like again, by all accounts, he had like one of the best rookie quarterback seasons we have ever seen in the history of the game. and he opened up week 1 not looking good. Given there's some tiers to Caleb Williams and even him coming out, and then tiers to playing the Baltimore defense versus the Titans defense. But like, there's very much a real thing to like settling in and really playing up against a true NFL defense. Whether they're good or not good, we can agree or not agree on that statement. Like, there is something to playing your first NFL game and struggling a little bit. I mean, CJ Stroud even did. So
I find it hard to believe that, like, you know, if Will Levis can make his debut after a Ryan Tannehill injury, 238 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, I find it hard to believe.
But he sat for like that wasn't his first like week in the NFL. Like,
but this is a completely different quarterback. This is a more advanced quarterback. This is a quarterback that is generational, somebody who you will not see every year. I mean, somebody on Levis's caliber is so much more common. And I'm not saying Caleb's going to come out and slice and dice the Titans and have 4 touchdowns and 300 yards or whatever it is. At the end of the day, like, I don't see it being too much of a struggle. I mean, this D-line, I mean, I get it. Like, the Titans D-line is different. I mean, you have Jeffrey Simmons in there, and that's new. You know what I mean? So it's like, I mean, the D-line is really the only thing that I find somewhat impressive on that defense. I don't see where you're getting all of this from. I don't. Like, I will fight tooth and nail for this, man.
No, we can't. L'Jarius Sneed in their defense, like in their defensive line. That's all you need. I mean, you have some good. You have like a decent secondary, and honestly, I hate to say it, you guys still have holes in your offensive line. And the best way to get a young quarterback antsy is to put pressure on him and force stupid throws.
Which fine with that.
I love Caleb. He made stupid throws in college. That was his big issue coming out, was sometimes he tried to do hero ball. And we had talked about that on the podcast before. And again, there's different levels and tiers to this. Again, CJ Stroud struggled. Like, I'm trying to find what like Trevor Lawrence's first game was like. I bet you Trevor Lawrence struggled, and Trevor Lawrence was viewed in the same exact vein.
Trevor Lawrence's team was garbage. There's never been a single quarterback in the history of the sport that's gotten into this.
I'm trying to find it. I agree, but like we cannot come in when all of history has ever said that rookie quarterbacks are going to come in and struggle a little bit, and then make this exception for this one guy because he's this generational guy. When by all accounts, there's been a generational guy every 5 years, and it hasn't.
It's not just that. It's the fact that nobody has ever walked into this talented of a football team as their rookie year. Like this quarterback.
I also don't trust your coaching staff either.
I mean, that's fine, but like at the end of the day, you've got Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, you've got Rome Odunze, and then you've got DeAndre Swift. It's not horrible though. It's not. Like we've got a couple holes, sure, but like I mean, it's tough to find a perfect offensive line in this league. Like at the end of the day, I mean, sure, but it's like I said, it's uncommon to find that. Like, but these players have played against teams like tough teams, and I mean, look at the Packers D line. Like, I mean, we got to play that twice a year. You think the Titans are going to be a struggle compared to what the Packers is going to be? Like, I understand.
Again,
like,
it has nothing to do with the opponent you guys playing. It's that it's his first game ever. It's his first NFL game.
I don't.
He played. Trevor Lawrence played the really bad Houston Texans, who we all thought was bad.
Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars were horrible. They got the number one pick that year.
He threw 3 interceptions that game. Whether it was his wide receivers or not, he played an NFL defense and he threw 3 interceptions. So it wasn't even that he didn't produce on offense. It's that he like threw bad interceptions in his first game ever. So whether or not you have talent or not have talent, he still threw 3 interceptions and was viewed as this highly touted guy and threw 3 interceptions in his very first game. By all accounts, a very, very bad Houston Texan defense. And Trevor Lawrence was viewed in the same exact vein as Caleb Williams coming out. Given his coaching staff was bad and his offense, yes, Trevor Lawrence is actually viewed as a better prospect than Caleb Williams.
No, I'm saying in the situation that he's given. You're telling me
No,
that
the situation is different. Of
viewed
course,
as-
the situation is different.
So he's not viewed
Again,
the
he
same.
I'm talking about as a quarterback prospect, my guy.
Okay, that's fine, but like it
He
doesn't
threw
make
3
sense to me.
interceptions. He threw 3 interceptions. And at the end of the day, like, I'll have to go back and see, but I'm willing to bet you that, like, all 3 interceptions were not, oh, the ball bounced off the wide receiver's hands into the DBs. I bet you there were some bad interceptions there even. So, like, what's to say he's not going to throw those interceptions as well in the first game? Again, I think Caleb Williams is going to have a fine rookie year, but again, it takes time to come in and adjust to the NFL. Every rookie quarterback pretty much ever has struggled with that.
I'm not saying he's not going to have growing pains. I'm not saying he's not going to have growing pains. I'm not going to say that he's going to come in and be this perfect quarterback. What I'm saying is this offense is too high firepower, and it leaves very little margin for error to where when you tell me that this garbage team like the Titans is going to give the Bears some problems when the Bears have a better defense. So, I mean, you can go into it and say, hey, the defense can make up for Caleb's errors. This defense is crazy. Now, given we've got a couple holes on the D-line, that's fine. But at the end of the day, this secondary is pretty good, man. And if you can tell me that Will Levis is going to do just fine against the secondary, I think that that's a joke, dude. Like I honestly like
just fine.
I just don't think so. And when you add somebody, I mean Caleb Williams should come into this league already better than Justin Fields was. I mean,
would hope so.
and at the same exact time, I think that Fields on this team would beat the Titans. And it's not because Fields has experience. It's because, I mean, I'm telling you right now, Caleb's going to perform better. I will put anything on this that the Bears are going to beat the Titans week 1.
Better.
I promise you, we could put it down right now. I promise you anything. Bears will beat the Titans week 1. That's all I'm going to say.
We'll see how it goes. Again, Trevor Lawrence lost to the 3-13 Houston Texans in his first game ever. So we'll see. I mean, I guarantee you that
Marvin Jones is his number 1 wide
guarantee
receiver.
you the Titans team is not going to be as bad as the 3-13 Houston. You might believe it. And I think that's also a big part of like our disagreement is how bad this Titans team is going to be. Because I really don't think this I think they made some very, very good moves in the offseason. Again, I think they had given their quarterback some good weapons, and I think they added pieces on the defense. So we'll see. Because we'll have the same argument 10,000 hours if we really wanted to. We can move on to the Texans.
I've never been so passionate about this to where it's like, But anyways, yes. So the Texans schedule. Moving on, I'll go first this time just because you went first last time. I think that I'm sure that we're gonna disagree, but let's see. So I have them starting off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-0. They're gonna beat the Colts in Indy. They're going to beat the Bears in Houston on, I think that's Sunday Night Football. They're going to beat Minnesota in Minnesota. They're going to beat the Jaguars, beat the Bills, beat the Patriots, and then they're going to lose to the Packers in Lambeau. They're going to beat the Colts. They're going to lose to the Jets. They're going to lose to the Lions. They're going to lose to the Cowboys. They're going to beat the Titans, beat the Jaguars, beat the Dolphins, beat the Chiefs, lose to the Ravens, beat the Titans to finish 12-5.
So we're not too far off from each other. I'm a little bit higher than them. I have them 13-4. I'm with you with their start pretty early on. I have them winning those first 6 games again against the Colts, Bears, Vikings, Jags, Bills, and Patriots. And then I do have them losing week 7 to the Packers. And then I have them beating the Colts as well. But this is where we start straying away a little bit, different from each other. I have them beating the Jets again. We'll see where the Jets are. I need to see it a little bit from the Jets before I even jump on that bandwagon. So I have them beating the Jets, and then I have them losing to the Lions. But then I have them beating the Cowboys. I like this Texans roster more than I like the Cowboys, and I trust Stroud more than I trust Dak Prescott. That's what it falls down to. I have them beating the Titans. I have them beating the Jags. I have them beating the Dolphins. And I'm right here with you. I have them beating the Chiefs as well. But I do have them losing to the Ravens and then losing to the Titans again because at this point in the season, Week 18, they're going to have their dub locked up. They're going to have their placement and seeding locked up. I actually have them finishing the season 13-4.
Nice. Yeah.
So
I mean,
we see pretty eye to eye with each other on this. So
this Texans team is going to be good for sure. And Texans fans all over should be very excited about this. So next up, so we saw my list last week.
yes,
but now it's time for Ben's top 15 wide receivers. Now we disagreed on Keenan Allen, so we can go ahead and get that out of the way. I don't think if you're going to have him on your list, you're going to have him probably on the outskirts. That's my guess, but I find that crazy, but we already had that conversation. So what's your list? What's your look like? Give me 1 through 15. And
so I kind of broke it down into tiers and kind of the way I view them as well. So I have a top 15, but then I kind of have like broken them down in a little bit of chunks. So at the top, pretty chalk. I have the two guys kind of in their own little tier. I have JJ and Tyreek Hill.
Okay.
Sorry. I have JJ and Tyreek Hill in their own little tiers, like the two undoubtedly top two guys in the entire league. And then I have a group of 4 guys here in the next tier. I have CD, Jamar, AJ Brown, and Amon-Ra. That's 3 through 6, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, that's 3 through 6. Again, I think those guys are all pretty similarly rated. I was almost inclined to put CD in the tier with JJ and Tyreek, but I don't think he's quite there yet. But also, like, I would rather have CD than Amon-Ra St. Brown. So, like, CD's weird. I think he might even belong in his own little tier. That's besides the point. And then in the next tier, I have Devontae Adams, DJ Moore, Brandon Ayuk, and Puka Nacua. The next tier after that at 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. At 11 and 12, we have their own little tier of their own. That's Garrett Wilson and Cooper Kupp. And then at 13, 14, and 15, we have Mike Evans, Stephon Diggs, and Nico Collins rounding out the list.
Okay. It's not too much different. No,
the big difference. I mean, the big difference is Keenan Allen. We just don't view Keenan Allen as the same wide receiver. Again, I like Keenan Allen. I think Keenan Allen benefited greatly from his quarterback play and the fact that he was basically the only weapon in his offense last year. But also, again, I do have major concerns and issues with his inability to stay healthy. Yeah. The way I did it is like if I had to take these guys for an entire season next year, how would I stack them? That's kind of the way that I have done it for one season. So I just trust these guys a little bit different.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Going into it, I knew that we were going to kind of differ in opinion since we talked about it last week. So, I mean, I don't think there's too much to dive into other than I just want to say thanks for putting DJ Moore in the top 10. That's pretty cool. It makes me feel pretty good. I understand. So, like, okay, after our talk last week, I know I put Devontae Adams right on the outside of my top 15, and I can understand putting him in the list. Like I said, all of these guys, it's not that they don't deserve to be on these lists. 15 wide receivers in a league that has 32 teams and a lot of wide receivers, it's really hard to rank 15 of them. So, the margin for, disagreement here is very open wide. It's going to be different for a lot of different people. And depending on where they come from and stuff like that, where the bias sets in as well, if there's any, you know what I mean? So like, I view, it's okay for me and you to view differently. I think that Keenan Allen's easily top 20, if not top 15.
Yeah, I think he'd probably sneak in somewhere there around 18, 19.
So, but at the end of the day, like, it's tough to be a top 15 wide receiver in the league. If it boils down to health, that's fine. I personally think, you could break this down into a conspiracy if you want, but I think that they shut down Keenan Allen for the rest of the season because they weren't going to be competitive enough for the playoffs. With Herbert's injury as well, it's kind of tough. So I can understand Keenan Allen's injury being a little exaggerated, but nonetheless, he did not play for the last few weeks of the season. I would know because I had him on my fantasy team. Dang it! But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's pretty awesome though. I will say that my 2 fantasy wide receivers for the season were turned into my 2 wide receivers for the Bears. So that's pretty
now
cool.
I just need to get you Roma Dunze.
Yes. Oh my God. That's a flex right there, man. I'm telling you. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, Ayuk at 9, I feel like might be a little high, but I might have to do a little bit more research on Ayuk because for mine, I had him at, well, no, I had him at 10.
Okay.
So that's fine. But yeah, I had Adams at 15. I mean, not having Garrett Wilson in here as well. I think that he took a hit last season just because he didn't have really much.
I think it was a quarterback play issue with him. I don't think it was a talent level and like him. Like for me, the fact that he still put up 1,000 yards with Zach Wilson and God, what's his name? Blanking on the other Jets quarterback's name. But like the fact that he still put up like the 1,000 yards with like awful quarterback play really states to you like how good he is, I think.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah. And it's totally okay. So yeah, I don't think that it's a bad list whatsoever. But moving on, I think this is our final segment for the week.
Sure.
It's time for America's favorite game, Weddle.
All right, Weddle. So we tied last week. We kind of gave up because it was pretty tough. But here we go. So it's 36-25 Ben. Let me share my screen here for everybody. Trying to close that gap into a 10-game lead.
I think you can do it.
Start off. I'm going to go ahead and start with David Montgomery. This is the easy one.
Gave me a lot to work off here, huh?
Yeah.
For those who are audio listeners, he didn't give me jack squat to work off of, besides the fact he's in the NFC. Taller, older, in the NFC. I was gonna say Dak, but the number doesn't line up there. Trying to go like division by division and think of kind of the quarterbacks. Jared Goff.
Off. All right. Let's see. So
but we know it's not in the north. Duh.
I'm gonna go with CD. No? Okay.
It has to be a tight end with the height, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought CD was taller, man. I don't know. TV adds a couple inches, I guess.
Yeah, right. So he's not in the north.
Yeah.
I think it's a skinny frame. He's not in the north and he's not in the east, so he has to be the south or west. I'm trying to think of the south tight ends there. No one stands out to me in the Buccaneers. No one stands out to me. Kyle Pitts is too young. George Kittle.
Nice. All right. Time to play the hard mode. All right. I will start as always, just in case.
Dude, I'm so scared. Ooh, it being that age range is big. I'm so scared for the day that it is Gervin Dexter. I'm excited for you whenever it happens eventually. Okay. Young player in the AFC who plays on defense. Could be short. We don't know. We just know he's not tall. So I'm going to think of like a young DB in the AFC. Sauce Gardner. Sauce.
That's who I was thinking too. All right.
He is short. So... He is a DB though, but it's short DB. So he's at least 6 feet, but is Could be shorter.
Joey Porter?
Too tall. Okay, not in the East, not in the North. So it leaves the South, AFC South. I'm trying to think who plays in the South. Okay. Stingley.
Dang it.
Oh, huge.
Wow.
Woo.
That one was kind of easier too.
Yeah, that one felt that one felt pretty easy. I was kind of just like rotating between like young guys in the South there, and Stingley was kind of the first guy that came to mind.
Yeah, I think it might be a little bit easier for us too, just because we've seen these guys at the combine too. So
yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Whenever I see that they're like 22, 23 years old, it's always like, this should be easy. We should be able to get this.
So a little bit of a shorter episode this week.
Yes.
I mean, not a lot to really talk about. But I mean, we're entering June, so I want to say, forgive me if I'm wrong, but we are about a month away, I believe, from training camp. Let me see.
Yeah. So we're about to hit like this dead period. So like most teams are wrapping up their OTAs and starting like mandatory mini camp. And then after that is over, we get like that awful dead week of like 3 weeks to like a month where there's like literally just like no football at all unless someone makes a trade or signs a contract or something.
Yeah.
I mean, Hunter Renfro's still out there. maybe we'll see like a Hunter Renfro signing or something before training camp. I'm honestly surprised he hasn't been signed.
Would I be crazy to say I would take him on the Bears as like a depth guy?
No. I'll take him on the Eagles. I mean, we need like a wide receiver 3 or 4. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
I'm surprised he's still out there, but I don't know.
Let's see. So all right. I am looking at this. All right, late May to early June, you've got OTAs and mandatory mini camps coming up. So, for those keeping track, I know. I mean, really, just we're looking at about mid-June. So probably about 2 episodes from now is when majority of the league is going to mandatory mini camp.
Yes.
July 17th is the franchise tag deadline, so we're about a couple months away from that. Mid to late July is when training camps open, and August starts the preseason games. So let's see. So we are I would say 2.5 months away from preseason football.
Yes.
Which
all right.
will be here a lot faster than we think.
It always does, right? You always think about like how far it is, and then you're like, oh, okay, that actually went by a little bit quicker. So I want to get you on record. I kind of want to pin down your answer on this one.
Mm-hmm.
If you were Goodell, would you, if like the league came to you and had offered you the ability to take away one of the preseason games? Because right now, so there used to be 4. Now there's 3 because we added the extra game in. And the NFL said, hey, well, we're going to take away another one of the preseason games. We're going to add a regular season game, and we're going to add a bye week. And then that way, the league is going to be ending on the Super Bowl will fall on not Memorial Day. What is that? It's like a holiday there in like late February. I'm trying to think what it is. But like you add a bye week and you add an extra season game in there, regular season game in there. Would you do it?
Absolutely.
Yeah. See, okay,
it kills 2 birds with 1 stone. I mean, you're making too many parties happy and you're making more money. I mean, that's the way that it goes, right? When it comes to preseason games, Ben and I can tell you firsthand. Tickets.
President's Day. That's the day I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
That way, it puts President's Day that Monday, the day right after the Super Bowl. Everyone's happy. Fans can drink. You can have your Super Bowl parade right after that.
Yeah,
it'll be awesome. Anyway, sorry, didn't mean to cut you off.
I was going to say. I mean, Ben and I can tell you guys firsthand. I mean, tickets are extremely cheap when it comes to preseason games, and not a lot of people are going to be watching preseason, especially around let's say week 3 of the preseason, because you're watching guys that are fighting for a position on the team. That's the one downside, is that You know, you're
My thing is that's fun for me. That's fun for you.
Mhm.
That's fun for like a lot of the guys that are like really, really big into football. But for the casual fan,
it doesn't make
they
sense.
could care less what's going on.
But the
They
casual
make far
fan,
more money.
the casual fan probably plays fantasy football, right?
Yeah.
So the casual fan's eyes, that gives them a second bye week to where their fantasy football players can maybe rest up and get a little bit more healthy. And it extends the fantasy football week by one more week, which I feel like every time it ends, it's like, man, that went by way too quick. So if you extend it by 1 week, I mean, you're going into the playoffs with hopefully a little bit more of a healthy roster. Teams are going to be looking better, and you got more competitive football. This is a no-brainer. And to be honest with you, I expect it by 2026 is what I'm saying. So, you know, I think it's going to be good.
Yes.
But yeah, with that being said, guys, I think that does it for the episode.
Yep.
Feel free to follow us on all of our platforms right above here. You know, leave us any kind of comments or suggestions. We are done with the AFC South, so we will move on to the NFC South starting next week for our schedule predictions. Spoiler alert, you know how it goes if you guys have been here for a long time. But we want to thank Regional Radio Sports Network, Uppercuts Grooming, and Spotify for Podcasters for helping us grow as a podcast. And until next time, this has been the Pigskin Project.